If you work outdoors, you're already feeling it. Summer-like weather is moving in, though it's still early May. Meteorologist Patrick Wright joins us now. So what should people be keeping in mind, Patrick, with this warm-up coming up?
Well, Alan, spring has been rather wonky, especially with the late season storm that we had last weekend. And now a swing to summer heat will show little mercy and leave no time to acclimate. Having time to acclimate is key when it comes to tolerating the heat, especially in the late summer months. The transition from winter to summer is looking almost non-existent with the roller coaster ride in terms of conditions. Last weekend brought another winter storm, while this weekend we'll see the 90s for the first time this year.
Even if we're not going to be seeing record-breaking heat, it's still going to be enough heat that people really need to pay attention to, especially if they're doing outdoor activities.
One of the ways we forecasted the impacts of heat is based on the time of year and the weather so far that season. For us, the transition to the summer-like weather may be a bit harder given the cooler conditions so far this spring.
I said heat this time of year is very different from heat in August and September when we're all acclimated to it.
Now, one thing that the National Weather Service uses to communicate the risk of heat is a product known as Heat Risk, and this really takes into account the time of year and the climatology of a local area. Now, for us, we are seeing a moderate heat risk coming up this weekend, the first one of the season. The moderate heat risk means people impacted by the heat are the elderly, unhoused, and those most sensitive to heat-related health problems.
So those sensitive groups really need to be aware this weekend, and even looks like through much of next week, we're expecting temperatures to be elevated.
Other categories include red for major impacts and magenta for extreme impacts in significant and prolonged periods of heat. With the prospect of the 90s on the horizon, something to be aware of is keeping out of local waterways, fed by snowmelt. The National Weather Service says the air may be warm, but the water is still running cold, which can have detrimental health impacts if you stay in for too long. Now, the National Weather Service also says now is the time to check your AC and be sure to drink enough water heading into the weekend.
Oh, I can't believe feels like it's just like that. So what does this mean for people who suffer from allergies? Anything?
Well, I was talking to an allergist a few weeks ago for one of the stories, and he said as the heat comes in, well, some of those plants will start to shut down when it comes to their pollen production. So at least some relief may be on the way, but not for everybody.
But in the meantime, we're all roasting to death.
Pretty much. It's a give and take.
All right, thanks, Patrick. Well, now turning to Chief Meteorologist Howie Gordon.